Hi, I'm Frank,
I'm Kim.
and welcome to our channel, FNK Life, where we're hoping to share with you the excitement of our post-early retirement slow traveling life. Now, in this video, what we would like to do is share with you 6 lessons that we learned sometimes the hard way, sometimes we're still learning, about slow traveling and long-term traveling. Let's start with lesson number 1. Now, the first lesson is that there's a huge difference between holidays and long-term slow traveling. And this has not been easy because the excitement we had, especially our first year, was to want to do everything, discover everything. We hadn't learned slow travel mode. So we would arrive in a place and hope to do everything immediately because that rush you feel, oh my God, I'm only going to be here for a few, oh no, I'm not going to be here for a few days. We have a whole month here. And that made a massive difference. So we had to accept that this was not just a holiday, but our everyday life and adjust to this because this had a big impact in particular on our budget. We overspent every single time the first few days or maybe the first week of a new destination.
It did take us a while to learn this lesson, to be fair. We would turn up somewhere and be really excited about going out and seeing everything.
And we're probably still doing that a little. We also know now that the first week of our budget is always going to be higher because you make mistakes. You don't know which places are the best value or the best to try.
And also we've learned that we don't need to feel that we have to go see everything. Like, we really appreciate other YouTubers' videos on all of the different sites they might have gone to in the same city that we're staying in. We'll take our time and see the things that we want to. And if we love a city, then we'll come back.
Exactly. Slow down. There's always another time, next year or the year after that. This is the beauty of it all.
It's great.
Our second lesson is that we struggled with staying too long in one place, in one continent, and in particular, not so much a location, but a climate. For lots of good reasons, our first year was dominated with 6 months in Southeast Asia, and we loved everything about it. But I have to admit that the heat, the humidity, after the first 3 or 4 months really got to me, and I felt literally that I was chasing air conditioning. We realized that we needed more variety and we needed more a temperate climate. So we ended up chasing 24 degrees across the world, but not just variety, but also contrast. So it's great. We can easily have the best possible time in Southeast Asia. And that was a big lesson. And I'm glad we've done this because our travel now is much more balanced with contrast, ups and downs in temperature, and it's made our quality of life much better.
And also, we do really enjoy different types of food, but we do miss, after a while, certain things that we can't get in a particular continent.
True.
So, like, we love being in Asia and having the curries and the spicy food. But then after a while, we really miss French food and
not just the food, but the wine as well.
Oh, wow.
You know, so Asia is great, but they're not yet known for the top wines in the world. So we can do cocktails and beers and enjoy and relax and even drink water. That's great. But it's so nice to be able to go back to Europe or to go back to South Africa or go back to Latin America and suddenly indulge in the best wines that the world have to offer. In summary, I think we found really quickly that doing too much, too long and too fast really led us to burnout. So we want to do less, not so fast, and
for us, it's very much like our sweet spot is to spend 3 months in each continent, and we're finding at the moment that's working for us. But that was something that we had to learn the harder way.
The hard way, indeed.
So, lesson number 3 was also a big one with regards to accommodation. Again, we learned quite quickly that staying in a hotel room wasn't that great for our mental health, of just having one space for us both to share all the time. It's, you know, it's great. They give you breakfast and they come and clean your room every day, but it's not the same as having your own apartment and your own space. So being able to get up in the morning and make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, and if one of us wants to stay up late, then that's great. The other one isn't disturbed. For us, that made a massive difference. And also having our own kitchen, so at times for our budget, but also just to be able to cook the dishes that we know that we like. Otherwise, if you're in a hotel, then you have to either eat at the hotel or decide where you're going to go every night. And those choices of having to pick somewhere all the time can become quite wearing as well.
They're exhausting, yes.
Yeah.
And that was a surprise for me because well, in fact, for both of us, because we really love going out and we love eating out.
Yeah.
In fact, if you'd asked us before slow traveling, what's our favorite thing to do? Well, it's to go and find one of the interesting or nice restaurants that we don't know yet and have the perfect night out, just eating interesting dishes and drinking interesting wines with it. So we love this, but if you have to do it every night, especially for more than a week or 2 weeks,
it's a lot. And also, as per lesson 1, we can't afford it.
It's expensive.
We can't go out every night. It isn't just a holiday. But yeah, having our own space and an extra room is a really good thing for us.
That's very true. And now for lesson number 4. Now, lesson number 4 for us was that the imagination, perception, preconception you have about a location don't always match the reality. In fact, they often do not at all, and there is nothing that replaces first-hand experience of those places. Now, there's a whole list of places that we either had high expectations and maybe they let us down, or we were like, nah, not sure if I want to go there, and they completely surprised us. So I won't say which is which yet, and maybe you'll have to subscribe and follow us, and where we talk about each continent and countries and cities we visited, and maybe the reasons why they let us down or surprised us. But I can list a few without telling you which is which, and see if you can guess in the comments. So for example, Jamaica, Manila, Boracay in the Philippines, Los Angeles, Casablanca, and actually Beijing, definitely, yeah. See, out of those 6 locations, can you guess which ones surprised us in a good way? We will do more videos about the specific worldwide locations we visited and we're thinking of visiting. But be aware that expectation rarely match the reality.
Yeah, generally they do surprise you in a good or a bad way, but it's never exactly the same as you've pictured it being. But the thing that we're particularly discovering is like some of the big cities that you picture as being like vibrant and exciting, and you've seen lots of films and videos on them, they can be really overwhelming, just like the noise, the traffic, the amount of people.
Sometimes it works the other way. You expect a huge city and it turns out to be much calmer than you thought it would be. That has been a good lesson.
But we are finding that in reality, we're actually much preferring the smaller cities in a country rather than going for the main known city or the capital, actually looking out for those smaller cities.
No spoilers.
Especially if they have a vineyard. But yeah, generally those ones are good. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's not just the size of the city. Some places are much better for a holiday than they are for a long-term stay. So this is interesting to balance out. If you're going to stay a month in a place, it's very different from just going for 2 or 3 days and hitting all the buzzing sites.
Okay, and our 5th lesson.
5th. Oh, that's 10 now.
Is in regard to checking you've got the right visa. So, visas are very important. We learnt this lesson almost the hard way on the very first day of starting our trip to Asia, when we were at Glasgow Airport and our first flight was out to China, and I had looked at all of the government advice and I knew that I could have a transit visa because I was flying out of China in 3 days' time, and everything had looked to be quite straightforward until we got to the desk and our check-in lady was like, oh no, I think you have to have an actual visa. You can't just turn up and apply for one, which was quite scary. But
and to be clear, she was wrong. We had done the research and the transit visa was a thing.
So it's fair that they check, and we were lucky that she came to the same conclusion and everyone agreed we could do this.
Now, what was funny about this is because I have a French passport, this rule did not apply. This is another interesting thing, is that rules of entry and visas are constantly changing. And in this particular case, 2 or 3 weeks before we set off, France and Germany and most of Europe had agreed with China that they would get a 2-week no visa, no problem entry. And so she was like, you can fly, but Kim, no.
And we did have further exciting conversations in China, which we will probably tell you about in another video. But I will just say, if you're flying to China, be very sure you have the right visas there, because there can be questions. And the other recommendation we have is always keep an eye on anything changing. So where we've set off and we're traveling for 4 to 6 months going around Asia, we also found in Malaysia, when before we set off, again, we did all that research, and it was fine to get an on arrival stamp in your passport that you could stay for 90 days. What we didn't know until we turned up was that, again, like 3 days beforehand, they changed the rules and they required you to fill in a form before you got there. And we were lucky that it had just come in, so they hadn't really expected that everyone would have got it. But it's really a good idea to obviously check before you go, but also check a week or so out before you're getting on your next flight that nothing's changed, because it can do. The other thing that you might want to check is if you ever bring banknotes with you to exchange, that can also be a problem. We were in a situation where we did bring some cash with us from the UK. We were fortunate that we got these notes directly from the bank and they were pristine. But had they not been, when we've been to exchange them, they have an expectation that your money is perfect. So like no tears, no nicks on it, nothing written on a note. Like they literally have to be perfect.
So yeah, no
or they won't
folds,
exchange
no
it.
blemishes, nothing at all, pristine.
So just be aware, if you do take any money from your home country, just make sure your notes are perfect to be able to do that. And also, if you go to Argentina...
Yes. So first of all, probably don't travel with a lot of cash. But in Argentina, the situation was very different. There had been massive inflation and therefore devaluation of the Argentinian pesos. But we knew we could get some cash. Unfortunately, we arrived and we needed cash immediately for a taxi. So we went to an ATM and just put the card in. And the maximum you could withdraw from that ATM was the equivalent of $30, which would be fine. We didn't need more than $30 for the taxi. But the fee for this $30 maximum was close to $30. So we ended up paying $60 for $30 withdrawal. We had no choice. We needed to pay the taxi driver, so we did. Thankfully, we had learned in advance and we were able later on to use Western Union to do a transfer. Now, this was funny in a completely different way because we thought, well, we're staying in Argentina for 2 months. Sure, let's take £600 or $800 worth of cash. When we went to Western Union, it was perfect. I just transferred it to a specific branch, which was around the corner from our accommodation. We turned up. And she just said, yeah, there you go. Hardly any fees at all. But what I didn't realize is that I was getting close to 1 million in Argentinian pesos. And this came in small notes. So she gave me literally
bundles,
a bag of cash.
It was like being a bank robbery. It was just a ridiculous amount.
I was carrying the loot in a plastic bag. Like
Skipping along the road.
Especially when people had warned us, and we didn't find this, by the way, sort of Argentina, especially Mendoza, were really safe. But they'd warned us, don't be too ostentatious with your jewelry or your iPhone or anything, don't show off anything. And we were like, sure, no problem. I've got an iPhone in one hand and a big bag of loot with big notes on my right shoulder. No big deal. But everything was fine, but it was really funny.
Yes. So visas and cash, beware.
Lesson learned. Which takes us to our next lesson. And this is our 6th lesson, which is about packing and specifically overpacking. Now, we spent a lot of time researching before we set off, and we thought we were experts. We had watched all the packing videos from experienced YouTubers.
We have carry-on suitcase and like a rucksack each, but that's pretty good.
That's it, carry-on only. And we were like, we've got this sorted. I had designed, refined, and printed a full packing list. We're light travelers. Well, what I didn't expect is that even with carry-on only, it was still really heavy. Maybe we went slightly over our packing expectations. That thing where you say, okay, well, 1 more pair of jeans just in case.
Just for backup.
How many shoes do I need to wear? So yes, overpacking is an issue, and particularly the weight of it. When you have to carry 1 or 2 suitcases up and down the stairs, because believe me, most airports, or a lot of airports, and a lot of stations, train stations, don't have lifts or escalators, so you do have to lift them up. One of the lessons that I would probably push, whatever you're thinking of packing, take a third off.
Yeah.
And then weigh it.
And also, beware of the suitcase when you start with it. Some of them are heavier than you think just to begin with when they're empty.
And this can affect your budget as well. Some of the Asian airlines, and probably other airlines we haven't experienced yet, they might weigh your hand luggage. They often have a limit of 7 kilograms. Now, 7 kilograms is really not a lot.
It is nothing.
Especially when your suitcase empty is already 2.5. To avoid that issue, we're quite happy to check in our luggage when we can, simply because, hey, we get rid of it. It gets taken care of. But it can add up. So if you're really on a budget,
just be aware of it, or just know that whenever you're looking at your airline fee, particularly for the internal flights, you are going to have to pay that slight bit extra to be able to check your bag in because of the weight restrictions.
And think, even if it's not very much, if you're paying $15 to $20 for the extra weight or to check in a bag, what if you both do this and that you're taking 4 flights in the month?
Yeah.
That's going to be £60 or $80, $90 for the month. You could have bought a brand new pair of jeans. So take less and, hey, just buy the stuff you need. Just don't carry it, just in case. So to sum up that 6th lesson, less is more. We really struggled to find a 7th lesson in our first 2 years. I think that was amazing. So maybe the 7th lesson is that travel is much easier than it looks, and you are resilient. You can do it. None of the lessons we described have ruined anything. None of them put us off traveling. If anything, we're even more excited. Now we look forward and say, wow, now we learned those lessons. Our next trips are going to be even better.
It's going to be so easy.
So
There's going to be something that trips us up, but
it
does make you resilient.
We're really looking forward to the next 6 lessons we're going to learn in the next year. I'm sure there's still a lot to learn, but don't be put off. Traveling and slow traveling or traveling long term is as exciting as you imagine. So don't hesitate.
So let us know your thoughts. If you've started traveling, what lessons have you learned? What surprised you? Do you have different solutions than we found to the ones that we've raised?
We'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
So please leave a comment. And if you haven't started traveling, what are the fears? What's holding you back? Or what are you anxious about? Because most of the anxieties or fears we might have had really didn't happen.
It didn't faze us as much as they should or could have done.
Yes. And we enjoy the surprises. Maybe if you keep an open mind, it's all good. So please share. Put a comment, ask us some questions, and give us your views on all those topics.
Please, if you can, subscribe to us as well. And if you're feeling extra generous, give us a like.
Oh, that'd be great. We look forward to speaking to you in our next videos, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.